Today our topic is writing in slope-intercept form. Our essential question is, how can I write equations in slope-intercept form? Vocabulary / review. Function is an equation with exactly one output for each input. Y-intercept is a point where the line crosses the y-axis when x equals 0. Slope is rise over run. Rate of change, also our slope formula, which we're going to use a lot more in this chapter. We talked about this last unit, but this unit, we're going to use that a lot more. And then slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Remember where your m is your slope, and your b is your y-intercept. Part 1, writing equations from graphs. All right, so first off, we need to identify our m and our b. We want to write in y equals mx plus b form. So that means we're replacing the m and the b with numbers. So m, slope, rise over run. Make your staircase. How much are we rising each time? Each time we're rising 2. Each time we're running 1. So our rise is 2, our run is 1. However, we have to look. Are we going up the mountain or down the mountain? If we read that graph from left to right, we are going down the mountain, which makes our rise over run -2 over 1. Y-intercept. Where does our line cross the y-axis? Where do we go through that y-axis? And we meet that y-axis right there at 5. So our equation would be y equals -2 over 1, x plus 5. Next one, same concept. Make your staircase. This time we're going up 2 each time, and we're going over 1 each time. Slope is 2 over 1. Look at your graph from left to right. Are we going up the mountain or down the mountain? We are going up, so it can stay positive. So our slope is 2 over 1. Y-intercept, where do we cross the y-axis? We cross it right here, kind of hiding the number, but it's at 3. We can always count the lines. 3 lines up. So we have y equals 2 over 1x plus 3 for our equation. If you flip your paper over, we have our second piece, which is writing an equation from 2 points. Writing an equation from 2 points. So our points are 0, -5, and 3, -1. So I'm going to start by labeling my points, x and y. Now remember, since we have 2 x and y's, we have to label them x1 and y1, x2 and y2. Now we are going to calculate the slope using our slope formula. Like I said, we're going to use that formula a lot this unit, so make sure you get it down. Slope is y2 minus y1. So y2 is right here. It's -1. So we do -1 minus y1, which is -5. Then on the bottom we do the same thing but with our x's. So we do x2, which is right there, 3, minus x1, which is 0. Do the operations. We have -1 minus -5. That double negative becomes a positive. -1 plus 5 is 4. 3 minus 0 is 3. So we have our slope. Our slope is 4 over 3. I'm going to put that in my slope blank right now. Then it goes next to the x. Step 2 is to identify your y-intercept. Now remember, your y-intercept is when x equals 0. So if we look at our points, we have 0, -5. And we have 3, -1. Is there a point where x was 0? Yes. This point right here, x was 0, which means that the corresponding number, the number that's next to that 0, is your y-intercept. So y was -5 in that case. So that is actually your b. It's the point where x equals 0. So we have our equation, y equals 4 over 3x plus -5. Last piece is pretty similar, except for it's write equations from linear functions. So I'm using that function notation, that f of x. So So we have f of 0 equals 5 and f of 4 equals 17. So we're going to be using the fact f of x equals y. They're the same thing. So we can say that f of x equals y and f of x equals y. So now each number is lining up with a letter. You see this x lines up with 0, this y lines up with 5, this x lines up with 4, this y lines up with 17. So we can actually rewrite our coordinates, or our functions, as coordinate points. This x lines up with 0, so we can say 0. This y lines up with 5, so we can say 5, 0, 5. Same thing over here. We have 4 and 17. 4 lines up with the x, 17 lines up with the y. Make sure you number your points, x1, y1, x2, y2, so that we can go to the next step, which is finding slope. Now we can find the slope of our lines. We have y2 minus y1. y2 is right here, 17, minus y1, which is right here, 5. Over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 0. Now we can do our operation. 17 minus 5 is 12. 4 minus 0 is 4. 12 over 4. Well, this actually means 12 divided by 4, which is an even number. It's 3. So we can actually say our slope, our m, is 3. And then lastly, identify the y-intercept, your b. So remember, your y-intercept is when x equals 0. So look at your coordinate points and identify the coordinate point where x is 0. That coordinate point right there, x is 0. The corresponding piece, y equals 5. So that is actually your b right there. When y is 5, x is 0. All right, that is all the notes I have for you today. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel.